All right, Sam got his sports news in pretty early for today. It's probably the 12th, who knows? And our sponsor today is Circuit City, Sam's sports news, the Avs one, which isn't really news. You could look that up, but I think he added that he's happy about that. State track meets are this weekend in Colorado. I'm pretty sure I wrote that down right. I could be completely lying, and you probably may not be in Colorado or interested in track, but I think he has to be there. I think he coaches track right now. Ryan Day's son picks Northwestern, and he's got a shot at playing there. I don't know who Ryan Day is, so I'm going to have to look that up. I know where Northwestern, I know Northwestern, and I'm glad he's got a shot. Market news, visa lays off expected this summer. My bet it's going to be that layoffs are going to happen the week before the earnings call. So what we're talking about today, AI choking on its own data, some of the problems with AI, my life. And again, originally, and I'll try not to say it every time, but the goal here was to make a video one time at the end of the month using AI in as many facets of my life as I could. So instead of using a Google search, I used Gemini and ask it the question, even though a normal search is like 10 times faster and apparently uses like 3 gallons less of water. That's an exaggeration, but every number I've heard about the water seems like an exaggeration. So AI is gathering its information from the internet, and a lot of the new information that is coming in is just slop. There was a textbook that someone posted a picture of recently where the start of a paragraph was like, well, let me try explaining it to you briefly and at a high school level, vocabulary. And it's like, okay, great textbook here. And you're going to have to buy it because the professor used AI to write it. And I've learned, I don't know if this is completely true, but if AI writes something, then the copyright isn't valid. I don't know if that's true. That's kind of what I've got the gist of. So we call those around my house mark facts, where I say something as true and then I just say it's a mark fact. So there's a mark fact for you. I can't find the specific video I was looking into on this part where it's eating its own slop, so I'll come into that, but we'll do an episode, I think, on King Azule, I think is how he says his name, but he's kind of this delusional uber alpha male character. And that I like, you can follow him and think he's funny. You can follow him and think he's inspiring, but he's said some stuff like, I'm a very peaceful person, followed immediately by, I once fought 30 men in a bar. And obviously he did it with a donkey jawbone. And he tells a story about his dad hitting him with a bat, like repeatedly. And then he catches the bat and throws his dad like up in the air with the bat, and he was 13 years old. And I was like, if you could do that, why'd you let him hit him repeatedly? I don't know. So for him, for that guy, I think he's told himself so many delusional stories that it's just fact for him now. He can't not say these stories. So I like that. And I think that's where AI is getting to. It's going to read the stories it's written. It's going to look at the comments on things. If you went to Facebook, there was this bot on bot interaction I saw once. It was a picture of a woman who had no torso and was wearing like a prom dress or something, and then the comment that you could see under it, and maybe someone doctored this image, was a person with the comment, "You look so beautiful in that dress." And so I'm just imagining AI sometime create a person an image of a woman in a dress, so that is beautiful, and just spits out that same image is what I hope it does. I know it makes the images, but I hope it just immediately has no torso on someone. So this is kind of I don't know why it wrote down. Okay, I'm having AI write the script for me, obviously. So an emergency issue. I don't know why it's an emergency. Oh, catastrophizing. I told it that a more perfect union channel. I really like almost everything they've done. I think there's a bias towards like, oh, the world is terrible and people don't get paid enough. But I wouldn't say that bias is inaccurate. And, I think catastrophizing, that like, hey, it's the worst in the world, everybody's gonna die, you can't afford food tomorrow, you're never gonna be able to eat pretzels again. That's kind of how their videos can come across sometimes, which that's kind of par for the course these days. So the video, I tracked down the hidden workers secretly powering ChatGPT. That's on YouTube by More Perfect Union, and I think that's a good one. So in short, people are being hired to answer questions and create content or review AI answers on specific things based on their knowledge. One guy, or filter out things. I think the most disturbing one is one guy talks about how it was called Project Anthrax, and he got images that were just terrifying, and he had to review them and say, like, why is this a terrifying image? One of the ones that's creepy to me is he said there was an image of someone building furniture, but they were building them out of like human bones and like animal bones or whatever, and that sounds creepy. So that is it's a good video, and it kind of points out like, hey, AI knows Gemini, Meta, ChatGPT, whoever, Grok, they know that their data is bad, right? They know they're getting worse and worse data, and they're using people who they are hoping are trained in these things to make it better. And I think another example that's in there was, I think the same guy saying, it asked me for counseling advice for someone who says something like, should I get involved again with my, abusive father, or that I haven't talked to in 10 years or something, who messaged me on Facebook. And the guy was like, I'm not a counselor. Like, I didn't go to school for counseling. I think he kind of made it sound like his wheelhouse was in English, right? So he read Dracula, he read a book report on Dracula, and he rated the parts that were slop or whatnot. So that's some fun stuff there with AI choking on its own data, trying to get better data, and where it's just not getting that data very well. AI in my life, again, writing a plan. It wrote the email for work. So this is about like, hey, I tried these things yesterday and today, and again, ongoing, like, what is this working out for me? So it helped me write a report and a plan for a meeting that I needed to have. And it was bad, but valuable enough that it was a framework I could work from, which leads me to the coding problem. Like, AI does a pretty good job. Like, I would say if you know how to use it as a tool right now, you can use it very effectively in programming, in, your code, writing code. However, you have to make sure that it's correct. So you have to be the QA person, you have to be the tester, which these are jobs that developers don't want to do. They're kind of boring, they're sticky, they're messy, and that's not what they want to sign up for, is, hey, what did this thing get wrong? And so it's not being used or being hated on by a lot of programmers, because it's like, all right, I did it did these things wrong. First I had to read through it all, and then I had to fix it. So why wouldn't I just fix it? Or excuse me, just do it right the first time. So using it as a tool, the problem being like a QA or tester for AI. Then the other thing that I had it do recently, is plan my day and then put it into a calendar. So I did this yesterday. I said, hey, here's all the things I need to do today. And I'm using Gemini. So I said, put it in my Google calendar. And my wife was like, hey, this is great. We should do this every day. And I was like, okay, fine. Takes 5 minutes. Now, is it saving me a ton of time? Well, probably not. If I was someone who generally regularly scheduled my day and put in appointments ahead of time, or put in blocks of work, or put in times that I expect to pick up kids, which some of those things are already in my calendar, then it would be great. But that's saving me 10 minutes, and it isn't a PhD level thing. It's a assistant, $8 an hour, pay someone in the Philippines to help you, but it'd be just as fast. Again, like the programming, it'd be just as fast as if I did it myself. But in this case, I could type in like, hey, thanks for the plan, this looks good, make Google Calendar items. And I like people who say thank you to the AI. Well, one, people who don't like it has to use the resourcing power to respond to just a thank you. It'd be like if I said, hello, how are you today? You used the same amount of energy to think through I'm good as you did for, hey, write this report about dinosaurs. Same energy use. And so you're really getting your money's worth there. And then the other piece just being, why, like, if I were to tell someone else to do that, I already told Gemini everything I was going to do that day. If I was just instead typing into my calendar everything I was going to do that day, probably work out better. So there we go. Circuit City, Sam Sports, Avs won, state track meets, Ryan Day. I'll have to look into that. Visa layoffs, and AI is choking on its own data. We're not going to do previews today for future things. The end.